Hello and welcome to day one of the 5-day prenatal teacher training. I am so excited to get started with you today. First, I'm going to just give you a little overview of what to expect, and then we'll dive into the most fundamental principle, the concept that I think every yoga teacher should know if you ever plan to have a pregnant woman in your class. And then we'll experience it in a pose or two. So that's generally going to be the sort of sequence of the training. Ma Yoga is based in 5 alignment principles. And so each of the 5 days we get to experience one of them. These alignment principles are based in the 5 natural elements. And I thought it would be a really wonderful kind of challenge to see if I can give you not only these concepts, but really specific applications so that you can be well on your way to not just, looking at a couple, prenatal poses and sharing them with someone, but creatively feeling your way into even making up a pose or putting a couple poses together in a flow that you know are going to be safe, effective, and transformative for a pregnant woman. So the number one most important principle underlying it all is the idea of making space for baby. So what does this mean, make space for baby? Well, all of our principles work on all 4 levels of embodiment. So we have physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual. And Hatha Yoga, which is what we're doing here, it's the kind of yogic path that involves experiencing more and more of self-discovery through our body, through the embodied experience. So in Hatha Yoga, we're gonna generally focus on the physical. And it's through what we do physically that we're going to shift ourselves mentally and emotionally and energetically and spiritually. So I'll start with the physical. Where does baby need space? Okay, why does baby need space? Well, baby's going to go into whatever baby's position wants to be, whatever position baby wants to be in, right? We don't get to be in charge. And making space for baby, making space for nature, making space for life to create life, that's really what we can do. We don't get to control this process. And that's a real inherent part of this foundational principle is we just simply want to make space for baby. And that's all we can do. Often, most times, baby will move into optimal position, which is head down and his or her back forward. Sometimes not, in which case we'll really make sure we're making space for baby in these optimal places. And if we're not, there's might not be much we can do. So that's where we might have to accept we might have a different kind of birth. Baby needs space in all the way up to here. So baby starts to actually grow and push our organs up. Baby needs us to be breathing. So we want, if you take one hand and put it on your collarbones, right here, right? If you take your shoulders forward, you see them pop out. These are meant to expand when we breathe. So we want to bring the breath all the way to there. We also, if you take the back of your hand to your back ribs, we want to experience an expansion of the back ribs. So the ribs expand out to the side and even the back as we breathe. So let's try that. We'll separate out the inhale and exhale by inhaling all the way up to the top chest, puffing it out like a pigeon, and see if you can keep that as spacious as you can as you exhale through the mouth, whisper ha, and take your back ribs back. It's almost like your rib cage is like a bell and you want to ring it to the back. See if you can keep as much space as you can in the back body. Inhale up to the top chest again. Exhale through the mouth, expanding the back ribs back. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, it's like you're sitting in a car seat and you're pressing your back ribs back. your shoulders back, your head back. So making space in the back of the body isn't just really essential for allowing baby to move into optimal positioning for birth, but also our core is connected to the back body. When we go into the back body like that, we're actually engaging the transversus abdominis. And this is our deep abdominals that go all the way down to the pelvic floor. And we can do this on every exhale, safely, just grounding down from this back body connection down through the pelvic floor into the earth. When we ground down, there's a natural kind of rising up with the inhale, and we've made space top to bottom too. So not only does making space for baby in the back body help us connect to our core, but the parasympathetic nervous system is connected to the back body. That's why, like, someone putting their hand on your back can be just so calming. It initiates the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the blood pressure, the heart rate, the firing of the neurons in the brain slow down. That's your parasympathetic nervous system. And one more reason to gently move into the back of your body. The pressure of the growing belly can actually start to cause the abdominal wall to split in the center. That's called diastasis recti. Now, this is very normal. There actually always is a split, and as we get pregnant, sometimes it grows to a couple finger widths. But if nobody's taught us to cradle baby in the back of our body, then this can happen over time. This can happen over time, and it may be harder to bring it back, but don't worry, we can. In very extreme situations, it needs surgery, but mostly we can weave it back together again. It's a lot easier if we start now. Exhaling, expanding the back body, grounding down. Inhaling, expanding up and out. And as I mentioned, each of these principles move and shift everything from how we're thinking to how we're feeling, how energy is moving in our body, and how we are connected to something bigger within ourselves, right? And so this idea of making space reminds us that we are not in charge, that we're working with bigger things. And if you recall what we were talking about in the introduction, this is connected to this idea of finding our feminine side, right? Becoming more open, softening our outer edges, using these 3 R's, becoming receptive, relational, right? So relational is like remembering we're in this relationship with our baby, our breath, our body. What kind of relationship do we want that to be? And reversible, which is a really hard one for some of us who like to be very certain and who believe things very strongly. I'm speaking from experience here. But what if even our most deeply held beliefs, we were to let go of just enough to be able to say, I changed my mind, or I went in a different direction, right? So we refer to this as a woman's prerogative, right? This is the feminine side of ourselves, just kind of spiraling around, not necessarily going in a straight direction, feeling our way forward as if someone turned the lights out. This is how we're going to go through this whole co-creative process of pregnancy, of a pose, right? Of a class, of preparing a class, even of stepping onto this new path of how we're going to be offering our gifts to the world in a new way. We start from making space. So we all have something gestating inside of us, right? So you might be pregnant, but you might just have a little idea, a little vision, just a sense of who you're becoming. It's all here in the second chakra. And so the places that baby needs space are the same exact places that we need space to be co-creative beings and to manifest our deepest intentions. So The first principle, make space for baby, is about that element of space, which is very, if you think of space, the universe, it's infinite, it's slow. This is what we're going to bring in. And it's connected to this kind of spiritual principle of finding the feminine, which we start every co-creative process with. And now, how can we apply this to, let's say, creating a prenatal class? So in the beginning of a prenatal class, we are always going to create a welcoming, warm, connected environment where people feel safe to share. So we have this check-in. We can give people prompts. We're going to be talking about breastfeeding today. So what have you heard? What are your feelings about it? Or we can just say, name, estimated due date, how you doing? What's coming up for you? Generally, pregnant women love to talk with each other because they realize they're not alone in dealing with all these things. And so this is really about finding that feminine, right? That place of remembering we're better together. And after we do that, we can do a centering meditation for everybody. Again, we're still in this element. We're still connected to just a slow, soft opening that we want people to have at the beginning. And so let's do that. Let's do a centering meditation. And we'll go ahead and pretend that we're pregnant so that you can be copying it for your pregnant mamas. And then we'll just do a pose. We'll move into what's next, which is bringing this spaciousness into our movements, right? So go ahead and sit up on something if you're not already. So a bolster, a blanket, a block, a folded towel or two. When we sit on the edge, what happens is the pelvis gently tilts forward and we get our natural curve in our low back. This actually helps us lengthen the back. So the beads, the vertebrae of the back are built so they're going to curve around. If they're flattening, we're losing space in between them. They're squishing those little discs in between them, creating potential pain and suffering. So allow your pelvis to tilt forward, even reach back and take the meat out from beneath your seat. So you'll be more forward on the front of your sitting bones, even toward your vagina, if you have one. And then on your exhalation, you can allow your hips to settle. You'll lose a little bit of that curve, but you're lengthening now down through the tailbone, through the hips, into the earth. And then with a nice inhalation, go ahead and expand all the way up to the top of your chest. You can even put your hands on your collarbones. And then the back of your hand on the back ribs and expand with each inhale and each exhale. And then release your hands. You can turn them palms up, touch thumb and index fingers together, closing the circle. With every exhalation, allow your pelvis to settle downward. Let your legs get heavy. Imagine you're sinking into warm sand. With every inhalation, expanding all the way up and out, even to the crown of your head. Picture baby floating in the womb. Surround baby with this loving, spacious breath. And even in your mind's eye, see if you can make space for baby. Can you picture baby with you, enjoying life somehow? Maybe like for me, it was sitting against a tree. Maybe for you, there's something you're looking forward to. Maybe a little wave of love comes through for baby. This being that you're just getting to know. Make space for it. We don't get to control it. Decide when it happens. Make space for the possibility that this love will be greater than anything you could ever imagine. Drawing your palms together in front of your heart. Making space for baby is that doorway that sometimes we don't even realize, but we're learning to turn loving, nurturing energy inward. Long after baby is no longer in us, we'll have this as a routine, turning in, using the breath to make space for whatever is gestating within us. If you have an intention for your practice today, for your whole day, something, a quality you'd like to experience, and everything you're experiencing, you're also offering to baby. So just breathe that in, and then let's do one grounding breath all together. Deep inhale through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. Namaste. So for this pose today, we're going to do Baddha Konasana, Cobbler's pose. It's a wonderful pose for making space for baby. And you can stay sitting up on something. Just take the soles of your feet together, knees wide. Now this pose for your pregnant mamas will definitely require some props. So if they have a bolster, they can just put it behind them the long way. But if you are teaching online, like I do a lot, a couch cushion really comes in handy. Super firm. This is the part that you sit on. And you'll generally want to have about a block lift toward the top so that it's on an incline. Now, if your students are super pregnant, they will know it won't feel good, and they'll want to have this even higher, maybe a couple almond milk boxes. But as long as mama's heart is above her pelvis, then her circulation is 100%. So we want to start lifting that up toward the late second trimester. The other things you'll need are something for under your legs, so you can grab a couple rolled blankets or towels or toss pillows. You'll want them under your thighs. So we can start in regular Baddha Konasana. I like to spread the toes apart, and this creates an engagement of the legs. When there's a stability of the legs, the groins can release. I'm going to take my hands under my knees, and I'm going to just lean back, drop my chin, exhale, and round. Make space for baby in the back body. And then I'm going to come forward. I can even take my hands a little closer and lift my chest. Make space for baby all the way to the top chest. Exhale, open your mouth, whisper ha, leaning back, stretching through the back of the neck. Inhale. Take your hands a little closer so the shoulder blades come together to help the heart open forward. Last one. Exhale and round. Inhale. And then let's do some nice circles with the torso. Exhaling back and around. Inhaling forward and around. Gently rocking baby. I think of this sometimes like the pelvis is like a bowl, and I'm stirring batter. I'm trying to get it off all the edges. So go all the way to your edges now, making space in places that maybe tend to hold on. You can slow down in those places. You can send your breath there. You can switch directions if you haven't already. And then coming back into center, go ahead and lie back. Place one hand on your low belly, one hand on the top chest, and let's do some wave breathing here. Inhaling up through the pelvic floor, all the way up like your hands are buoys on an ocean, gently rising and falling. And now you can take your hands wherever it's comfortable. I like to put them on the pillows so that my shoulders can relax back. For the next couple minutes, invite that spaciousness that you've created in your body into your mind. The mind tends to want to fix problems, and so it searches them out. Invite in a picture, like a snapshot of something that you imagine doing with baby, being with baby. What just comes up, make space for it. Feel that love, that connection, and allow yourself to focus more on that love that is always there within. If you'd like to take the full 7 minutes for this restorative pose, you are more than welcome to. You can pause the video. And when you're ready, you can take your hands under your thighs and use your hands to lift your knees so your groins stay nice and deep. You can press against the thighs to lengthen the lower back, the spine, and then inhale, stretch your arms overhead, lengthening out. Roll to the side. Use your hands and arms to come on up. Come back to your comfortable seat. So the beauty of making space for baby is that we can know what is going to be a really safe, effective prenatal pose, if that's the focus of it. And we can steer clear of poses that maybe make it harder. We also don't make space for baby in any places that we don't want space for ourselves. And what you'll learn about all these alignment principles that I'm going to be teaching you is that we're all pregnant with something. Something's gestating in there, in that second chakra, that place where creative energy flows. And it may be an idea or a project or a vision for who you want to be. But when we make space for it in the back of the body, this place that connects us to our power and our source, and all the way to the top chest, where we connect to the world from through our heart, we're creating space for it. And really, in some ways, that's all we can do. We're not in charge. We just make space for what we want so we can receive it fully. Should the universe choose to offer it, please contemplate this powerful beginning, making space for whatever it is you want in your life. And I look forward to seeing you on day 2.